Welcome to today's video. And this is a topic I find actually quite exciting and interesting. So what we're talking about is sacred healer priestesses, which is an old tradition that goes back thousands and thousands of years ago. So back in the days when Europe was a matriarchal culture, the temples were run by priestesses, not priests. And these were actually places where men would go and be initiated into basically learning how to have sex by having sex with the priestesses. Now today we still have these sacred sexual workers who are referred to as prostitutes, and is often thought of as a degrading profession. But back in the day, even in the Bible, in the Old Testament, some of the closest confidants and advisors to King Solomon were actually what we would call today sex workers or prostitutes. So today I have a modern day sexual healing priestess here, Althea, and she has kindly agreed to talk a little bit about the work that she is doing.
Thank you, Jade. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, so I think it's true, though there was these temple priestesses, but there was still the prostitutes as we think of them today. We had the temples and the temple prostitutes, and then we also had there was the street prostitutes too. So yeah, what I would really like to see is the unification of the street prostitution and the temple prostitution, really bringing the sacred all the way down. So, in the industry we call it like the hierarchy, whereas, where either very highly paid sex workers can look down on other sex workers, but I would love everybody to know the healing power that is in this work. And I think having the training in the temple arts and also in the way that we relate to sex is when the healing comes through. So so many people do the work out of desperation or because they need the money, but there's still so much shame around it that the interaction can't happen without this shame being present. And often men will report, like, after seeing a prostitute, that they feel they could feel empty or shame or something like that because of how the interaction is. But with the right training and the right way of looking at things, it can be such a deeply healing, connective experience.
That's really interesting, because I was just remembering that one of my childhood friends was a sex worker or prostitute for a while, and she ended up marrying one of her clients and becoming a psychologist. And she said she felt like it was quite similar what she was doing in both jobs. But she had a different kind of training, for the second.
Yeah. It's definitely similar. There's some differences in that I feel like for the most part, the sacred whore will tell you what you long to hear, whereas your therapist probably won't.
Not.
Yeah. So there is a difference. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, sex work's basically like seeing a therapist. It's definitely no substitution for therapy if you feel like there's some issues there, but I feel like it can be really beautiful alongside it. Like there's definitely limitations with psychotherapy, places that we can't get to that are stored in our bodies, in our sex, and sex work is just like a fast track to some of these places.
Yeah, but I suppose a lot of the people that might see you, or in fact me in my line of work, giving tantric massage, and we're helping to heal these people, but a lot of these people would never go to see a psychologist or get that kind of therapy,
Right.
So we're offering, something that's actually like, helping these people that wouldn't, normally get therapy.
Totally.
Yeah, and I mean, with my job as a tantric masseuse, even though what I'm doing is, it's working on a very, very deep level using Taoist and Tantric sort of techniques to bring about deep healing, it's also like very much about pleasure, in the sense that when I unblock someone's meridians and get the meridians flowing, their capacity to experience pleasure like really increases, like really sort of dramatically, and they can often have like full body orgasms in the sessions with me, you know. And even though I consider this healing work, it's also sexual healing work. And then I wonder, just between what you and I are doing, like how much difference is there really? You know, obviously I don't have sex and I don't sort of kiss my clients, but it's still working with their sexual energy in a very powerful way that's also just incredibly healing, you know.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think there is a subtle difference in the way that we receive our clients, because there's a between like the practitioner who's kind of doing, and then perhaps the sacred prostitute who's receiving. It's to fully receive someone as a lover is really like a deep transmission. To know like all of them is fully welcomed and like fully welcomed into the other. Yeah.
So do you feel like you're really like growing, increasing, and cultivating love just for the whole of society?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like my work is, and its very essence is just to show up and love. Yeah.
And does that give you a sense of fulfillment?
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding. I could never have imagined actually when I started on this path how rewarding it would be. You know, I really got into it for my love of sex and my desire to be my own boss and make good money. And through that, I really discovered that it was my greatest spiritual practice, because it's just invitation every time just to come back to unconditional love.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I definitely feel like I channel in love from the universe and just spread that all through me and my clients. And I just feel like it's like the whole energy of both of us actually has had a huge shift, you know, by the end of it. Yeah.
Beautiful. And this is my husband.
Yeah, so Tal is here, and Tal is the husband, and he's also a Chinese medicine practitioner. So could you share with us a little bit about your viewpoint about all of this?
Yeah, so I very much support my wife in what she does, and I feel like she's doing a lot of great work. You're talking about spreading the love together, spreading the love in the world, and it's interesting to see how many marriages are actually saved because of this sort of work, right? So people can be in sexless marriages or marriages where there's just not as deep a connection, but everything else might work. And then they get those needs met from someone like Althea, and then that need's met, right? And then they can go back to their family or wife. I've also seen some of our clients fully develop, some of them that I've known personally, come in very insecure, and after several sessions, leave very confident and go off to then connect in other long-term relationships. So, I've seen I've seen the work firsthand. And then, like you, also do a lot of Taoist practices myself with my clients as well, and it's a beautiful thing to also start integrating that into some of the work. Althea and I do a little bit of that, not much, but.
So, do you use any of the Taoist practices with your work? I think you mentioned about the microcosmic orbit.
I do. Yeah, I find that really useful in building and maintaining my sexual energy and dropping into a multi-orgasmic state.
Wow. Yeah. And do you think that the things you've learned from Tal has helped you to kind of develop your pleasure capacity and your orgasmic capacity?
Yeah, on our path together, I've discovered a lot of things, and Tal's a very powerful healer. So, from the sacred spot work that we've done, which actually opened me up to ejaculation, female ejaculation that I did after a sacred spot session with Tal. And I really love the qigong practices that we do as well to build up my energy as well after sessions.
That's beautiful. So I just have a question, Tal. I'm going to just play a little devil's advocate here, because a lot of guys would not be happy about their missus doing, sex work. But you have no jealousy. You don't feel funny about it at all.
Yeah, no, I don't have any jealousy around her work, and very little. We're somewhat poly to some degree, so she does have a couple other lovers, as do I. But I came in with just very little jealousy in general. Yeah, I imagine quite a few guys would have trouble with that, and I think instead of looking at it as though it's my woman going off and having sex with other men, it's really the sacred work that is rare to find when it's someone's true calling, and to allow that to come into the world and be of service to the world. And how best can I support that? Because I see all the benefits and amazing work of one of the oldest traditions, and one of the most powerful modalities, because sexuality is such a core part of the human condition. So yeah, any way I can support her, I do my best.
Yeah, I mean, I find, because I do this work with spiritual healing, which involves using sexual energy, and I just find like sexual energy is such an incredibly powerful way to heal people, because normally, for example, an acupuncturist is using the chi energy, when they're putting the needles in and healing the body. But with what I do with tantric massage, and when we're able to actually access someone's sexual energy and their pleasure energy, we're able to sort of put them in a state where we're really able to just open up their meridians and clear out like incredible, blockages. Even, for example, I've had clients that have maybe like not even had a relationship their whole lives because they were raped as children, and after doing a session with them, it just turns on its head, because you can just wash, things out.
It's super powerful, and it affects us at such a deep and subconscious level, all the way to the conscious mind. So if you can work with that energy, it's incredibly potent. So it can totally change people's lives when it's done consciously.
I mean, I love working with sexual energy as well. It's so powerful what it can do with my clients, and just every person you see it, and it's just making a huge difference to them. And you wouldn't, if it wasn't making this huge difference, you just wouldn't do it, But okay.
I've seen some of the work that you've done, and some of your practices, and it's really potent. And you've spent a lot of time doing your work. It comes through. You're really embodying it, and it's beautiful.
I absolutely love it. Which is the same as you, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, when you get a taste for it, it's hard not to be passionate about something this powerful, transformative, and fun. And fun.
So thank you so much, guys, for sharing this.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to talk about it, and I hope this perhaps open your mind up a little bit to what sex work can be, if you weren't already aware. So it's a pleasure to be on.
And it's been amazing for me to meet you guys and to hear about what you're doing, and it's really inspiring. So
I'd love more sex workers to learn like the Taoist techniques. I think it could be really useful.
Yeah, because these techniques were actually used in the old days by the consorts and the wives and the women that were having sex with the emperors and the lords and everything. So
it's potent. I'm happy to see you doing that kind of work and spreading it. So if anyone's doing this sort of work, just doing regular massage or anything, and you can learn some of these more potent techniques that have proven themselves over thousands of years, definitely should take a class or something. Highly recommended.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.